Hey everyone, how's it going? Mike here from the Canadian Workshop, and today what I'm doing is I'm building the mount for the rad relocate that we're doing on this Arctic Cat 500 4x4. I'm going to save you guys the long-winded intro that I did for this video and just get right into the build. What I'm doing here is cutting the angle iron using this the great little bandsaw here. Is a porta-band that I got from Amazon. I'll have a link in the description below if you want to check it out, but I'll be doing a review on it once I get more use out of it. But so far this thing has been just great. It cuts well, no issues at all. It's fast. It has a little LED light there so you can light up your work as you're cutting, and you can see here it just cuts through steel like butter. This is at 3 times the speed, but I mean it works really well, and it does have an adjustment for the speed itself. So I have all my pieces cut out, and what I'm doing here is I'm using a digital angle finder, which I'll have a link to it in the description below if you're interested in getting one. I just zeroed the angle finder on my welding surface, and now I'm going to put it on my 2x2 angle in order to set it to the 60-degree angle that we want to have the rad sitting at. And I'm going to use some welding magnets here to hold everything in place. I switched out the welding magnets that I was using to these multiple angle ones. They hold better, and they tend to not slip around as much like these red ones here did. So now what I'm doing is I'm just tacking everything in place. I have my digital angle finder there set, and before I go and weld everything, I'm going to do a final weld everywhere. I just want to make sure everything is square, so I'm using my my little square there. So I'm making sure everything is perfect, exactly where I need it to be. And I'm going to use my digital angle finder one last time to check to make sure it's where I need it to be. And I want it 60 degrees, and we can see here 60.63 degrees. That's close enough for what we need it to be. So that's all set up. I'm just going to do a couple more tacks, and then we'll be ready to try it out on the rack and see how it fits. The next step in building this rad mount is going to be to dry fit the rad itself in there and measure for the vertical bracket that's going to hold the top part of the rad in place. And what I'm realizing here is that the spout at the bottom for the rad hose is interfering with the installation because it's hitting the welding table. So I'm using these magnets to lift it up off the table a little bit. And on the bottom of the rad there's these 2 little rubber grommets that fit into the holes, so I took those off first to be able to squeeze that rad into place, and now it's seated where it needs to be. So I'm figuring out where on the horizontal angle iron I want to have my bracket going up, and I've got to measure for the height to cut that piece on. So I figure there, I think it's about 12 inches that I need the height to be of that vertical support for the radiator. So I've cut my two 12-inch sections of flat stock to use as the vertical brackets. And what I'm doing here is I've clamped both of them together in the vise, so the holes that I'm drilling here are at the exact same spot on both sides to make sure that the rad is sitting flat or even across. It's not cockeyed in one way or the other. And I'm using a spiral step bit in order to bring the hole up to the size that I need for the bolts. So here you can see the rad mount and the rad sitting in place, and we have that vertical support with the bolt on the top and bottom. One thing I will admit here is that lower bolt, I'm gonna weld that in place so that rod doesn't move. With the lower bolt, like you can see there, that creates a pivot point on the bottom of the rad, and I'm worried that could cause the rad to skip out. So with that bottom welded in solid, it won't move. And here we can see the spout from the bottom of the rad. The way it was before, it didn't have the proper clearance to clear the welding table as I was welding. And this also shows that we need to have spacers, which we're going to build later, to go between that rad mount and the rack of the four-wheeler in order to have room between the plastic on the four-wheeler and the hose, so it needs to go through. But we've got a video of actually installing this on the bike, so that'll be up shortly. You'll be able to see that part of the mount at that point in time. So this is the rad mount itself. Now once it's on the bike, we are going to add a protective shield to the front of it and on the side to help protect the rad a bit more, and we're considering maybe putting a cover on the top just in case that cap blows off. I don't want to spew hot rad fluid all over the driver, so that'll be to protect them. But that's about it there. That's the mount for the radiator. So it's that simple to build. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of any of my upcoming videos. And we'll see you on the next one.